Yeah, she's got to help the, what are they called? I forget. The lion people. No, I forget their name.
Right.
I remember the main guy is Barack Obama. Tharrells, the Tharrells. And he's Barack.
There you go.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
I really like Warriors Gate. I love Warriors Gate.
Really?
Oh yeah. Did you not like it that much?
It was enjoyable. I didn't love it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones like I feel kind of the same way about it that I feel about the Happiness Patrol.
Okay.
Where it's like this is kind of incredibly different from what you usually expect from Doctor Who.
Okay.
Or at least I thought it was. There are of course, some familiar things like for instance, a Time Lord named the Doctor.
Really?
A TARDIS. But, it's really weird and sort of experimental in the visuals and lots of surreal things. And they use weird visual effects, and then there's a lot of dark humor, I think, especially with the two hired hands on the bulk freighter. I forget their names, but it's just sort of very weird and spooky and strange, and I enjoy it.
I hadn't really looked at it in that light, but yeah, I mean, it does have quite a bit of dark humor and stuff. Actually, one of the things that stuck out to me, which was just like this kind of minor visual thing, is that the freighter ship looks surprisingly like Serenity.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Which, at first I was... And also it's, just on a little continuity note, it made out of dwarf star alloy.
Yes, dwarf star alloy.
Which, I believe is the material they used to encase the Doctor in, what was it, Day of the Moon?
Yes, it was also the material that the 10th Doctor used He used chains made of dwarf star alloy to imprison Father of Mine.
Oh, right. Huh. Very interesting. So this has been a recurring material.
It's a recurring material, yes.
It's got its own story arc.
But it's not credited.
No, it's so sad.
And Dwarf Star Alloy as himself. Yeah, that's so this is the first appearance of that, but
cool.
So yeah, it's a nifty thing in the new series for them to have called back to. I had completely forgotten about it until rewatching this, and then I was like, "Oh, wow. All right, that sounds familiar."
How about that?
It did look a lot like Serenity, though.
It did.
And
it did.
I did find that kind of
it was kind of
interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of like evil Serenity.
Well, and there was also much like Serenity. I think it opened the story with a series of really long shots showing that all of the rooms in it seem to be connected.
Ah, yes.
Like, almost as though it's bragging, yes, this really is a set that we built. We don't just have all of these weird disconnected rooms that are next to one another. Yeah. And that's something they did in the first episode of Firefly, which was named Serenity. And it's something they also did in the movie continuation of Firefly, which was also named Serenity.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. They also do it in the first episode of Downton Abbey.
That's right, they do.
But there's no spaceship.
No.
As far as we know.
Right. That could be like a sudden twist where it could be like Gilligan's Planet, where they have that sort of continuation of Downton Abbey, but it's in space with the Abbey becoming this gigantic spaceship.
Well, yeah, because I think we're going to find out eventually that the reason that Lord Grantham is so desperate to protect and steward the house is because he knows its ancient secret that it is truly an alien spacecraft.
Yes. It's just needed all these centuries to like repair,
Mm-hmm.
which it does by drawing energy from like housekeeping.
Yes. Yes.
That makes sense.
And that's Warrior's Gate.
Yeah. This episode was enjoyable, but there were parts where I was just sort of, I don't know, they seemed kind of weird and unnatural to me, like at the end where the captain, whatever his name, he was like sort of like strangling the doctor, and just like Romana just walks right by and like starts to sabotage the ship.
No, she hits him with a clipboard.
Right.
I like that.
It just seemed kind of strange to me, and it kind of humorous in sort of a surreal kind of way, where he's just so that captain dude is just all his anger and rage is he can't see past his hatred for the doctor to see that Romana's behind him doing all this stuff.
And then at the end he yells, "I'm finally getting something done."
Right. I mean, well, we really can't fault this guy. He just wants to be productive. He's just, he's just finally checking off his checklist of stuff that he needs to get done.
Yeah. I don't know. Surreal is a good word for it, and I liked that.
I guess it's likable.
It also contains a great line. This story contains a truly great line from Romana, in which she says, "I think it's the backlash will bounce back and destroy everything." Just a really good line, well delivered.
That is a really good line. I was also a little bit confused by Romana just straight up decided to just stick around with K9. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, how did K9 get to be with Sarah Jane when he's being left here?
Yeah, it's a different model of K9.
Oh,
okay. It's a completely different character.
Okay. Well then, that solves everything.
Yeah, I guess it would have to.
Okay. But yeah, so Romana's decision seemed kind of sudden to me.
It is kind of sudden, and I'm actually not sure about this, but I think it might be that she just decided she wanted to leave, and they're like, oh, well, we'll write that into this story then, and that they hadn't, they already had the story planned, and she said, oh, by the way, I'm leaving, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll just have you leave here.
We'll just pencil that in.
But it's clear, they do sort of introduce early on in the story that she doesn't want to go back to the Time Lords.
Right. I do remember that.
Which is kind of irrelevant because the Doctor isn't like going directly back to the Time Lords. I mean, he does a few other things first.
He's got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, she's got to help the what are they called? I forget. Tharals, the Tharals.
There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of done very abruptly.
Right.
And they took the opportunity to get rid of K9.
Right.
Because a lot of the people who were working on the show just really hated K9.
Right. Because didn't he like interfere with their like cameras or something, like the radio signal they used or something?
I haven't heard that in particular. Maybe it just in general, he was just a very difficult prop to work with. Like for instance, in Full Circle when they had him out in the jungle or whatever, it was just really difficult to get him to work. And they had him on the beach in
right.
Leisure Hive. I think, and that's one of the reasons why so often he's told to K9, you stay watching the TARDIS just to make sure nothing goes wrong, and then they just won't do anything with him because it's just so hard to work with.
Right.
Kind of like Tom Baker. He was also pretty hard to work with.
But yeah, no. I mean, this is an enjoyable episode. I liked it. I didn't love it to the extent that you clearly do.
Yeah. I think it might be one of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah. I just like lions.
Hey, yeah, and they're kings too. Apparently.
Yeah, they are. They are kings.
Lion kings.
Lion kings.
Anyway.
So this wraps up the E-Space trilogy.
Right.
Which is that's Full Circle, and then State of Decay, and then Warrior's Gate. 3 stories set in E-Space. One of the things that people have sort of speculated about is whether Romana being in E-Space would have prevented her from perishing in the Time War.
Ooh.
So
interesting.
Yeah, so there's been speculation, like, they're going to bring back, any number of people who people expect to come back. The Master, the Rani, Davros, some of whom do come back and some of whom haven't yet come back. And Romana has been one of them.
That would be very interesting. I'd like to see Romana come back.
Yeah, I would too. I think I don't know. It's in the audio stories. They have used the character and shown that she returns from E-Space eventually, and becomes president of the Time Lords.
Really?
But they could totally just ignore that if they wanted to. They always do.
Exactly.
They ignore whatever they want to ignore. So
that'd be cool.
they also had in the novels, Gallifrey was destroyed, and then it would have to be reconstituted and then destroyed again because the way it was destroyed has nothing to do with the Time War in the novels. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. All kinds of weird canon stuff having to do with the Time Lords. They could do whatever they want.
They could. It's about time travel. I'm sure they could do whatever they wanted.
And they wouldn't even have to explain.
Nope.
People would make up their own explanations. I sure would.
Yeah. Me too. And our explanations would probably be different from each other's, and it's okay.
And you'd hear about them on this podcast.
Yeah. Precisely.
The second it happens.
Yes.